like, all right,
Something like
two packs. We're like, all right, $30. We're good for way too long.
Half a year, like, let's give it to the kids a bit.
So then opening day, we did a soft opening. And we're like, let's just put the dinosaur, like, we'll be like all the people that got the first waffle.
They
get a dinosaur.
A bunch of homies came through, like, gave them dinosaurs.
And everyone's putting us on their story. Because there was, like, years of us making a waffle shop. Yeah. There was a lot of hype. Once they saw that we were, like, doing it, everyone started kind of coming out. And people were posting because we just have a lot of supportive friends here and supportive people. And we just put on the story. Next day, we open up. And then we give out a couple waffles to people. And people were like, they like brought back their waffle.
Is there a problem? Like, do you not like
something wrong? So they're like, I think it was supposed to have a tiny dinosaur on it.
We're like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, the waffles that come with the dinosaurs on it. We really wanted the dinosaurs.
Leo here, your host of the Building Bellingham podcast, and thanks for stopping by the studio. Pour a glass of whiskey or local beer, take a sip, kick those feet up. We're going to dive into what it means to be a business owner, what it means to be a member of this Bellingham and Whatcom County community, and what it means to find peace and balance while running a badass, high-octane, local, iconic business. Let's jump in.
Welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you navigated the beeping, the booping outside of the studio here, Building Bellingham Studios. Thank you for joining us for episode 6. You guys own Sweet as Waffles and know a lot about waffles and probably eat a fair amount of waffles.
More than we'd like to admit, that's for sure.
But when they taste that good.
They're pretty good. Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah. Like canvas there.
You put some arugula on it, becomes a salad.
There you go.
Feel
salad
really good about yourself. And
Tell me a little bit about you guys individually. How did you guys meet? How did this whole creation come to be? Tell me more about that.
Basically, it started back in 2014. I got an idea when doing some travels of a little waffle shop when I was over in New Zealand.
Just kind of road tripping, right?
I was hitchhiking throughout New Zealand. I was doing couldn't afford Western, so I had to leave. I'm from Rhode Island. Went to Western, couldn't afford it. Had to leave after my winter quarter. I just wanted to go travel, and I wanted to do it pretty much as broke as possible, just because I thought it would be a good story to have. So I ended up going to New Zealand and hitchhiking everywhere and living out of a backpack and had like homeless for the night signs and slept in handicapped bus-stop bathrooms and on the side of the street. And people would open up their home, yada, yada, yada. But basically an idea came of this little waffle shop idea. And
you had some time to think about it.
Yeah. I was just inspired and came back to Bellingham in 2015. And I met Graham. And Graham and I met on the top of your roof. Yeah, just jamming with our friend Austin. He's really good at guitar, and our buddy Austin was learning how to get to play guitar. And
I think I give you the uke on that roof.
No, you gave me like the tambourine.
Yeah, like let's start this out easy. Give him maybe a triangle or a tambourine. What's the one that goes?
The triangle.
Or the little like cheese grating board, whatever that one is.
And then so that was the first time I met Graham, and then we ended up just kind of hitting it off. And that house that he lived in was like basically all of our best college friends. And Graham
over on High Street. Good group of friends. I moved into one of my friend's house and just kind of knew him, a couple other people, but just met Nate and like the big group right away. And then, just like kind of started from there. I think probably within the first couple months of knowing you like randomly just threw out the idea that you always want to do a waffle shop in Bellingham. And
what were you guys doing? How did the conversation come up about the waffle shop? Because that was this like brainchild from the road trip, and then you guys jammed, and then there was this other moment.
Well, really, it was like that full year. I mean, we were friends and kicked it and like came up randomly a couple times. But then I left Bellingham close to 8 months or so. And I traveled. I went to South Africa and just China. I focused on just like traveling through skating. I was out there like skating, meeting people, like connecting people through skateboarding, see what differences in the community I can make there. Ended up volunteering with some like really cool like social groups that focus on skateboarding, like building skate parks, rural villages, like bringing product out to people who've like never even seen a skateboard before and all this. And it was really cool. And anyways, did that for about 8 months, came back to Bellingham and like even when I was there, I was like mentioning to a couple people who were like, "Oh, what are you gonna do when you go back?" I was like, "I might open up a waffle shop." Like that idea, even just like we didn't decide to do it together or anything like set in stone beforehand, but it was like there. So we came back and we're just both in school, full time, working restaurant jobs, and getting towards like the end of us both being, graduated out of school. I went to BTC, graduated from Western, and eventually I think we just got like sick of working these jobs and working for people, and we're both like, F it, let's just start going through with it and like just do this for ourselves and build something up from here.
And you clearly had this huge background in business and running businesses. No, but like this is the best part about all of these stories, and your story is that you had a passion, you had an idea, and you just did it. And a lot of people analyze. Tell me more about like, hey, we have a business idea. Did you come up with a business plan? Did you like right off the bat, or was it like, hey, we have this idea, this brand, let's start there and work backwards? How did you guys do that?
We learned a lot as we went, for sure. Definitely didn't have like any written down business plan or timeline or anything from the start. It was really just like when we were in college, we were broke. We were just like, living off top ramen and McKay's 3 for $5 pizza every day, and just like got all our money together and just bought the trailer down in Eugene, drove it up here. It took like 18 hours to get it up from Eugene. We couldn't go over like 30 miles per hour without fishtailing and wanted to flip over. Like we have lines of like 25 people behind us, like honking, like going up back roads in Mount Rainier National Park.
I'd never towed
snowing
anything in
and
my
stuff.
life.
It was a wreck.
I had to tow that day. I just like learned how to tow something that was just super dangerous. It didn't even have taillights.
How did you find the food truck?
Craigslist.
Yeah,
well,
Craigslist,
it was basically just a box that we bought, and
just walls and windows and a door.
Super
basic.
Those are important for keeping things in.
It's on like a 1970s trailer frame. It's like a really rusted out, horrible frame, but it was cheap, and like it had the walls. We're like, it was a good price. We're like, all right, let's just send it there. And
that was like the beginning of how naive we were. Like the night before, we went and stayed with his sister, and like there was like huge arguments and fights happening outside, so he didn't get any sleep.
Upstairs neighbors was like beating up the other roommate, and he's screaming like, somebody call the police. So I listened to that all night. I had to deal with that, and then picked up the next morning. I had food poisoning that day, so we were pulling over every like 15 minutes at a bathroom, deal with that.
Well, it couldn't have been smooth. That's not the point. That's
exactly.
It has to launch with a journey.
If it was easy, it wouldn't be as worth it,
You talk about being naive, and I was also naive when I started this business. A lot of where we are today, and where I assume where you feel like you are today, your successes comes from that, like, well, we just don't know any better, and we're bootstrapping it. We don't really have a backup plan of finances or whatever it may be. You guys bootstrapped it, and how has that attributed to like how you guys operate today? You guys have worked your asses off.
Yeah.
You're always work. You guys are always there. You guys are always working hard and busy.
Neither of us come from any money. So when we started the trailer, we were like, I remember we bought our waffle maker as the first thing we bought, and we were like, buying ingredients. We'd have to like Venmo request each other like a couple bucks for flour.
Just full flour, just enough flour to make like 3 waffles for that day.
And it was just so brutal at the very beginning. But basically, we're really hard workers, which is like,
that helps.
We fall short in some other categories, but being hard, diligent workers is something that we both take pride in. I would say that the first year of operation, especially like that first summer, we weren't paying ourselves. And we were like learning all of like the issues with the trailer. We were like, our like gray water pump, we would use a drill, and we would zip tie the drill to get like the gray water out of the tank. And then we were constantly, our like electricity or like all of our breakers would be flipping.
Right lights in there forever. So as soon as like end of summer, fall started coming, sun started setting, we'd be in like pretty much the pitch black after sunset. We had to get lights.
We only had like rave lights as our only.
They're just flashing LED strip lights.
We could see what's happening every like second, right?
Pretty much.
And we thought it was so funny and cool at the beginning, and we were like, wow, this is just not functional at all. But we just worked so many hours.
What do you mean? How many hours? What's a long day? Well, and this is just for perspective for the listeners. Like, what is a long day for you? What's a normal day? What's a short day?
I would say at the, basically 70, 80-hour weeks.
Yeah.
So like 13-hour days would be like our like longer day.
Yep.
10's average, I would say. 10 we're like, oh, that was a short day.
Yeah,
That
for
wasn't bad.
sure. Yeah, like we get a 9-hour day. I'm like, nice. I got like time in the afternoon, time in the evening.
Yeah.
Like it's 7 p.m. I'm home. Like it's rare. So yeah, it's always changing. Like if we're lucky, we'll get some days that's a little less than others. I mean, right now that we got our brick and mortar keys, we've been, we're still running the trailer and all that, but we've been in the shop every day, 12, 13 hours all week long, just trying to get a head start on that. Definitely one word to describe us is impatient. We both just want to get stuff done. Yeah. And we work hard and we want like things to happen. So we both just jump on things quick and then think about it later.
It's a good thing that it's not just one of you that wants that. Both of you want that. That definitely helps. Yeah. So we'll talk more about the partnership. There's a metaphor about icebergs and like what people see above the water and what's below. And 10 being a normal, like an okay, like, oh yeah, it's a pretty good day, I've got time. That's not reality for a lot of people. For a lot of people, they show up to work, they go to 9 to 5, they deal with that. Maybe they work for somebody else, or they have a schedule that is narrower than that. What's going on behind the scenes is that you guys are working 10 to 13 hours a day to make this creation. I really appreciate you guys getting vulnerable about that, because that's not easy to do. How do you find the motivation to, like, is it just like, we're going to do this until there's a point where we have an epiphany that we don't have to do it as hard or for as long of hours or whatever it is? Tell me a little bit more about how do your brains work on that?
When we started the business, like actually opened up our doors, we were doing everything so poorly and a big part of that was just purely because there was no inventory of anything, forks or napkins or arugula or flour. So we would have to go to 3-4 stores a day to go get supplies to operate for the day. And it was just so difficult and so frustrating, but we knew nothing else. So since then, it's become almost easier. Yeah. Also, we always talk about it where, we're in like this business partnership, and I feel like a lot of local businesses, there's like usually just like one person, right? There's always a team, but there's always like one leader. And Graham and I always go back and forth. We were talking about it yesterday while we were like ripping apart our entire shop and, cleaning it and getting rid of everything. And we're like, man, I'm so glad that I have someone else here to just work with me. And, when I get down, I can like look at Graham, and Graham's like powered more up. And then like when he gets down, vice versa, like I'm powered more up, and you can just even each other out on those off days. And very grateful to have a partnership in my first business. That's for sure.
Totally. Especially like bouncing off ideas. It's like we both have similar ways of thinking, but obviously like two individuals, we have so many different ideas and thoughts and like how we think things should look or taste or the building should feel walking into it and all these things. So yeah, just building up ideas and being able to just converse, and like I can throw out my own idea and think of it one way and say it out loud. Maybe that's not how I really wanted to see, just like saying it to someone else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think ultimately just like what makes us like want to work so hard at this and put so many hours and years into like building up Sweet as Waffles is just we have a lot of expectations of what Sweet as Waffles can be. It's starting as this food trailer, and we built that trailer in our backyard. We put from 2018 we got the trailer until 2021 we pretty much had that thing in our backyard or on farms and friends' houses, building that trailer to get it open. And it's like starts this small trailer and this small menu of waffles, and now it's like brick and mortar, and we just like have this envision of like all these places we can take Sweet as Waffles, whether it's in Bellingham or expand outside of Bellingham, what we want to do production wise in the future. So we both just have big visions and dreams for the brands and for the waffles, and just knowing that there's always something more that we can work to is very motivating.
There'll always be a demand for waffles.
Hopefully.
Absolutely right.
We're out of business otherwise.
I know a lot of people that love waffles, so that's and you probably know more people that like waffles than I do. But let's talk about the name. And this is just a wacky theory from my side. And Tiffany and I were talking about this. So the name Sweet as Waffles, and you can totally call me out if it's wrong, but has it always been Sweet as Waffles, or was it Sweet Ass Waffles?
No, it was always it's always like a running joke because people are like, oh, they like see your name. They're like, oh, Sweet Waffles. And like, that's like what everyone sees. And they're like, oh, no, it's Sweet Ass Waffles. You're like, no, it's neither. Neither.
Zero
of them.
on both.
It's-
And we when people were like, "Oh, I love sweet ass waffles," we're like, "Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I love sweet ass waffles too."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's funny.
Sweet as is just
Yeah.
like a term in New Zealand. That's like when you describe something like really good. You know, you'd be like, "Oh, that's sweet as, bro."
Okay.
And
It's sweet as, like,
but yeah,
and
the
you
play
can fill in
on
the
words
blanks. Yeah.
is pretty nice.
Yeah.
The sweet ass is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And we like,
And that was something
Yeah.
that came back later when people just didn't understand.
Yeah, and even before we're like,
Or they
oh,
just
people
wanted to
are-
hear what they wanted to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, but other people are gonna think it's sweet ass, and we're all right with that. And also just like sweet, as in sweet flavors, sweet as waffle, it just kind of flows and kind of makes you think about it for a
Yeah.
sec. So it's like, okay, it's got a couple of these meanings here. It's like, let's think about this name. Let's think a little bit.
yeah, our business has like a bunch of little hidden Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And that's like one of them. You got other ones. that-
What other Easter eggs do we have? Oh,
I think I might tell you off camera.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
You come to the trailer and ask us. We'll be happy to show you.
Yeah, fair. Well, we're there pretty regular. Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, easy.
And you all should too, but you might not find out about what's behind the scenes on,
Yeah.
on those. But,
Unless you politely ask.
unless you politely ask. Not rudely ask, right? If they come up and rudely ask, probably no. Maybe yes. You talked about partnership and how you guys both build off each other pretty good, lift the other person up when the energy's there, but you guys are two different people. And you probably know what you're each good at this point and what you're each not good at. Did you guys pretty early on decide, hey, this is probably a good lane for me to stay in? Because there's the operations and then there's the creative side. There's two sides. Well, there's many dimensions to a business,
Yeah.
but they're like the two main are the creation and the operations. How did you guys divvy that up? Was it just kind of like, hey, this is what needs to get done. I'm doing this thing. You need to go do that thing. Or did you guys pretty early on figure out, okay, I'm good at this, you're good at that?
A little bit of both, really. A lot of it happened organically as we figured out what we need to do, whether it's behind the scene or like the day-to-day operation stuff, where you just kind of like fell into lanes of what naturally like worked best for us. But we both come from different backgrounds of like, I've had a lot of kitchen food experience, worked at a lot of different local restaurants in downtown Bellingham or in Bellingham General, Seattle, and various places. So I have a little bit more of like the food kind of back in, but we both have management experience through different like retail. I was store manager at Zoomies for years, ran a couple different stores, worked for that company for a long time. Yeah, Nate managed surf shops. And so we both have a lot of like customer service and behind the scenes things. We know kind of like how a business should run, and especially like how it should look and feel, and how like customer service should be. But yeah, we kind of just kept falling into everything pretty organically there.
I think there's certain roles at the beginning we're like trying to spread out, and we realized that maybe some of us aren't as good at certain things as others. I would say one of those examples is that admin work. It's not my strong suit. I would say responding to emails is probably my least strong suit. So I think we learned that I might not be the
guy
the contact point
Yeah.
if you need to get stuff done.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys picked up on that pretty much over time. Let's talk about the creative side of the business. You guys, you have a little bit more at that time, more kitchen experience, but you guys are both creative. And so you start talking about this vision of like, it starts probably with a small menu, but you guys had this idea for what you wanted to put out there. Tell me about, how did you come up with your menu? What were some of your inspirations behind the the really, really amazing and delicious combinations that you might not think about? Like the average person might show up and not think that those things go together or haven't had them together before. And they go, holy shit, this is delicious. How have you guys designed that?
I mean, you could get a waffle at a lot of different places. For one, you could go to the store and buy an Eggo waffle and throw it in your toaster oven, get your crappy processed buttermilk waffle. You're set. And we could have gone that route as opening up a waffle shop and being another IHOP and get pre-made batter and mix it with your buttermilk and make it very crappy and classic and cheap. But from the beginning, we're like, we're going to do this. We're going to do it right. We're going to make this recipe from scratch. We're going to make our sauces, spreads, everything from scratch for the most part, and like make it good quality. So yeah, the original menu, it took really years to get that original menu and recipe figured out. The whole time we had the trailer in our backyard, 2018 to 2021. We got the waffle maker that same month. We had the waffle maker in our basement, and it's the only place it would plug in was the outlet where the dryer plugs in. It was a 250 volt plug, and we got an adapter and plugged it in there. So our basement of, we were on Grant Street, York neighborhood, and there was like a river going through it. The past,
satanic writing.
yeah,
Oh.
the past tenants. It was
Yeah.
like 20 people squatting the house,
Yeah.
doing drugs,
Chop
and
shop.
Yeah.
do all this stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, we just worked for years just to like
Please cook waffle. Please cook
Yeah,
waffle.
exactly.
Please get me out of this place.
just to get those recipes down,
Yeah.
the original menu down, and just kind of like fine tune of like what kind of products should we be getting out. And then once we did open up shop with that original menu, it's like, all right, cool, this is what works, this is what we're gonna keep doing. These are the type of waffles we will not do because they're too much work or not cost efficient. But yeah, a lot just like happened over a couple of years, just like talking through it all, many experiments of like
Experimenting, meaning eating waffles and feeding your friends with waffles.
Yeah, it's bad homework, but
We did a funny thing is when we opened up, like we had our waffle recipe, and then we we'd always make like 3 to 5, and then we were like, all right, we have to multiply this like by a lot. We're gonna make like 120 at a time, roughly.
Yeah.
So when we made it, it turned out like a little too thin.
Yeah.
So when we'd pour, like early on, it would spew, like the batter would spew out the iron, and it would go like 1.5 feet in like a direction, and it was just like a random direction.
And just like hit with a wet batter and just cover
and
it,
you'd be like
all
talking
of it.
to someone at the counter, and you'd just be getting like sprayed in the butt.
Just
And we were like, so early on, we were like, we just got to keep a straight face,
Just maybe a quick.
we got to play it cool, but
just cover.
you're like, oh wow, watch out, and it's just like,
Put it hands up in front of the iron, but
so we're like, we got to fix this, but
Yeah, that was a good thing to fix. And
yeah.
so you guys are in the basement, you're testing this out, you guys, and then started having like the spray happen, and all these things were happening, but you were still cranking out waffles. Like the reason I brought up that like the iceberg metaphor is because the person that's getting the waffle, you don't want them to necessarily now you get a chance to talk about it, and your friends probably know a lot about all those things, but person that comes up just gets a waffle, right? And they get a really amazing waffle. What was your philosophy on just like, this is how I want the people that eat our food, sort of the experience I want them to have. This is the experience they have from us. Tell me a little bit more about that.
The design of Sweet as Waffles was basically, we saw that Bellingham was kind of getting gentrified, and that a lot of these iconic downtown locations were getting out of business. Graham and I have been here for a long time, so it's really sad to see. And we were like, man, we just want to keep Bellingham weird, like bring back that funk that Bellingham has and like used to have more so, rather than these like generic apartment complexes everywhere. And it just felt like a lot of like Seattle businesses were coming in, or like LA businesses that are very like, I always call them it's like a whitewashed coffee shop. It's like an Apple store. Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go drink a coffee at another Apple store
and take a selfie.
Yeah, and be on my MacBook. And we were just kind of like, we don't want that at all.
Yeah.
So we wanted like heavy banter, I would say, for like our customer relationship. We want to make a product that's like weird, and people come up and don't even know what they're like ordering for the most part. And we always make these recommendations for all these add-ons, like the maple syrup and hot sauce is the legendary one with the Canadian quesadilla. Everyone just says yes because they don't know what they're getting. We talked about this the other day of like, if you go over and get a burger, you know what kind of burger you want. Yeah. But when you have a Canadian quesadilla, grilled cheese waffle, basically, no one's ever really had that, so they don't know what's
savory
good.
Waffle in general.
Yeah.
Or like, let's just trust these guys.
Yeah. So
Well, I've asked you guys multiple times, like, hey, what should I get with this? And you guys have always just said, hey, you should get this, this, and this. And I'm like, all right, game.
And that's how we
make it happen.
We just are there all the time.
Yeah.
We just like add on stuff, and we'll have rotating specials, and we'll like then have this particular ingredient that we're like, oh, toss that on the Canadian or on the salad or whatever it may be, and it like makes it so much better in certain different ways, different elements. But yeah, we just want to make a business that was different. People could come in and kind of laugh at and just have a good time. We don't take ourselves very seriously, and we hope that all of our customers also don't take themselves very seriously. We put humping dinosaurs on like the majority of homies waffles.
Yeah.
And, we'll have bachelorette parties come in. We'll draw big old wieners and whipped cream.
Yeah.
And they love it. And it's like awesome. And it's so fun to have a business that we can just do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah. That's the point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just,
you work for someone else, you do what they want to a specific degree. You start your own business, you take all the risks that you guys have, you get to do what the fuck you want. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. I think there's been a big shift into, I know this sounds bad, but towards authenticity. Like, hey, just be yourself. This is who I am. This is what I like to do. This is what my product is. And if you don't like it, that's okay. There are people that like it.
Yeah.
I think the more far away that you get from who you are, the more people you can serve. What I mean by that is like the more big box you go, you can serve more people because you don't really stick to one thing. The cool part about what you guys do is Bellingham is a community that's perfect for that. And I agree because I got here when Bellingham was weird.
Yeah.
And Bellingham's like becoming less weird. And I want to talk a little bit about that. You talked about how you saw the core downtown. There were businesses, staples, you know, like the Up. You know, the Up was a place, $5 pitchers, RIP, Green Frog. And you've got, you know, there's great creativity. There's great food and stuff that's down there now. But $5 pitchers, pinball, cheap pizza, that was part of Funky Bellingham.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And as you guys grow, let's talk a little bit about like, how do you want to continue to impact the weirdness, the Bellingham weirdness?
Ironically, with the Up and Up, we were originally supposed to be there. That was where the trailer was gonna go.
Yeah.
And we were just trying to sort it out. So we love Carnal. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
I love the guys that own it and everything. It was a little sad to go in there the first time after like the Up and Up closed, but at least they're
Big
bringing
contrast for sure.
at least they're bringing something good to Bellingham.
Yeah.
So I'm not upset with it. But
Delicious food as well.
yeah.
But it is also like for people that are new to Bellingham, the gentrification, they go in there and they're experiencing a great restaurant in a location that they don't like. I go in there, I'm like, pool table used to be there.
Yeah.
That's where I used to go get my super like cheesy pizza, $5 pitcher right there.
Mhm.
So
Totally.
what's your vision? Because you guys want to make an impact with that.
For sure. I mean, now having keys to a brick and mortar that's coming this spring is like, it's one of the most exciting things about it. Because we're just like, all right, now like we can actually have an indoor space in downtown Bellingham. It's on Railroad Avenue. So right in the heart of Bellingham where we can like get some good traffic and get these college kids who may be here for the first time. They go into downtown Bellingham and then like see Sweet as Waffles and they get our product and they experience like what Bellingham is. And maybe we can like help make that experience authentic and like get that weirdness right into the brain of like, yeah, Bellingham is fun. Like they have this like cool products and they have this like cool energy and like we can help bring that to downtown. We also like to do a lot of collabs and different things with the other restaurants and food trucks and like whether it's food or outside of food, but just try to, just partner with other businesses and restaurants that we look up to in town that also carry that like weird fun culture that we can create a great product together just to like spread out that funness even more.
Let's rewind back a little bit before this, and then we'll talk more about the brick and mortar because it's super exciting. And I'm stoked for you guys. You guys create the truck, create the recipes. How did you guys link up with Jason over at Stemma? Because your location is temporarily permanent there. Your truck's there, and you're there every time I've been there. You've always been there.
Yeah.
But how did you start like looking at locations? Because I know that's a big thing for food trucks is where am I going to be what day of the week, right?
So our trailer, basically, to even rewind before the trailer, we were just trying to find a hole in the wall spot downtown.
Where like maybe we can get into a window of a coffee shop or build our own structure and like an alleyway, like just try to find a place, especially downtown, that we could just like create a little hub.
Which again comes back to the naive thing because all the building codes were completely just not going to
Which
happen.
like we'll put up some wood and call it good.
Our issue is we got too inspired from Portland.
Yeah.
Portland just is like, just do it.
Yeah, whatever.
You know, yeah. When it comes to Stemma, it goes back to 2015 or something. I was an instructor at Baker for snowboarding, and Zach, who is the main guy at Stemma, basically.
Zach's the man.
He's been there forever, and you can't miss him.
Yeah.
He had bugged me a dozen times to try to get me to come to Stemma for an event or whatever. And we're like, dude, we're not operational.
Yeah.
You know, we're like not even close.
Yeah.
And then eventually when we were about to open, he was like, yo, I'd love to like sit down and like talk about it. And then he basically just invited us to be a part of it. And then we met up with Jason. Jason liked the idea. And then we met up with Alex, and Alex was the marketing guy at the time. And we loved Stemma kind of because it was so new. We didn't know much about it besides like we liked the beer and we liked the people that worked there.
Yep.
It wasn't downtown, which was a big issue for us because that was
the original goal.
Yeah, that was a target market, you know, as downtown late night and stuff. So we were like, okay, we're going to like not hit our business goals.
Yeah.
But Alex was doing such a great job as the marketer. They were doing so much different stuff.
Yeah.
They were standing out. They were being that funky, weird Bellingham that we were driven in to do, and
they
we
were
were
only
like,
open like 2 years up to that point, and they were outside of town, but they were already like, all right, these
Very
guys
impactful.
have something going on. Like,
They have
let's
solid
do
traffic.
this.
I mean,
no, not and like we've even
yeah,
seen
now
them just
that we've been
they're
there
so busy
long.
all the
Yeah.
time. And they're
it's
doing
nice they have the yard too.
Yeah.
That definitely helps parking.
Totally.
Yeah, it's nice to see them just kind of like keep. When you talk to Jason, he's always thinking.
Yeah.
He's always like,
Yeah.
all right, he's got a couple different steps, and like he's just like the accountant mind of
Yeah.
you know, and
Just
you're like,
leveling.
dang, this guy's gonna like build this business pretty big, you
Yeah.
know, and it's really
Mhm.
cool. So we ended up just kind of signing with them, which has been awesome. We
Yeah.
love that they
Great,
give
great
us
spot.
everything that we need.
Yep.
They're-
Mhm.
We love the people there.
Customer basis is great, and it wasn't our first initial ideal customer basis when we started talking about like being downtown. We were just thinking late night, like drunk bar crowd, college crowd.
The people that don't know that they're regulars.
Like
exactly
like 16 through 35.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, and then like going to STEMA, and then like we have so many like great families and kids that we love, and that they come pet their
35,
dogs and
yeah,
love.
yeah.
And then like the little
all
kids.
these
yeah.
people that were like, all
Or they're
right,
buying
it's-
5 waffles instead of 2.
Yeah,
exactly.
you know? Yeah.
But it was great to like learn about like the rest of what we weren't even like thinking about for target market.
We didn't even think about children.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like it never even crossed. We were gonna be at Gruff, and we were
Yeah,
like,
Gruff's 21 up, so we were like,
Yeah.
oh, that's fine. Like we'll
Yeah.
just do that. But
yeah,
so
we're like,
now-
oh, kids just can't have our waffles,
Yeah.
which is just such a
Suckers.
tease.
Yeah.
Like we would just be such
We're not
assholes if
waffles,
we were
yeah.
like, yo, here's like this delicious sweet. Also, you get a dinosaur, but
Yeah.
you can't have us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This dinosaur is only for adults.
Yeah, right. Like
exactly.
21 and up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually we like always consider that because we had this like super loyal like mountain bike crew
Yeah.
that's been following us since they were like they
Day
were
one,
16.
yeah.
You know, we were like 22.
Yeah.
We were like 21. We hadn't even had the waffle shop
Like our
yet.
first stickers we got in, we were mailing to them.
Yeah.
They created like a bike jump crew, like Swizz Waffles bike jumper.
And they're
like,
still
jumpers.
our most loyal customers.
Uh-huh.
And we were always like, how are we gonna get them their waffles?
yeah,
You
we're
know?
gonna break
Like,
their heart.
Yeah, we're gonna break
You know,
their heart.
not
if
that
we-
rough.
yeah, they're not even gonna be able to get into the beer garden. Now. Like up and up. I don't know what to do.
So it worked out for that reason. You got your
Absolutely.
bikers their waffles.
Yeah,
learned a lot in
totally.
the process.
Yeah.
And that trailer is like we built that in our backyard, and we did it with the thought of it being stationary. Like our water tank's like underneath the trailer. It's on ratchet straps and plywood, like barely off the ground. The trailer itself is so old and rickety. The front storage box we'd have to take off every time we move it. Like we
Way overweighted.
way
Yeah.
overweighted. So,
So it's good. It's good to be where it is.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
cute
wanted to be
as shit.
stationary.
Yeah, it is cute as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Functionally, we got it there. Looks, cuteness, we got it.
Nailed it.
Let's talk about the cute animal that you created called an otterlope. Or is that a real animal? Because I haven't seen one,
It's
but
real. They're out here. They're elusive.
they're
Yeah.
elusive.
Yeah.
Do they eat waffles?
They actually eat waffles. They drink maple syrup, and then children. Children
Yeah.
is the other one.
Gotta
They
beware.
eat children? Yeah.
They eat
Jumping
children.
off boardwalk, you might throw a gainer and land, and it's just there waiting for
Yeah,
you to
yeah.
nibble on your toes.
Watch
Yeah.
out.
Do you feel the antler first or the nibble first?
We haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, luckily I haven't been
Yeah.
able to get that close
Feed them
to
waffles,
it.
they stay away.
Yeah.
Or kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give it some syrup. I'm just happy.
Yeah.
But
right
if
on.
you eat like crepes or pancakes, you're probably a goner.
Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah,
go for you.
they'll smell
They
that
can
on
smell
you
it.
from a mile away.
Yeah, it does emit an aura, definitely. How did you find the otterlope?
We were like talking about basically making some sort of mythical creature.
We wanted
as-
to be original.
That is original.
We
as
wanted-
Bellingham
yeah.
themes, yeah.
Yeah,
We had
went
talked about the jackalope. We had talked about like a
Jackalope was
mammoth
one.
or Sasquatch with like
Sasquatch.
antlers,
Or like we just want to be kind of like
a raccoon. with
Yeah,
antlers.
mythical, but like keep this cuteness.
Yeah.
And then jackalope is one we talked about, but it's used a good amount. It just didn't seem original enough. So we're like, oh, we'll make our own jackalope. Otters being such like a cute thing, and around the Bellingham area, we were like, all right, let's just maybe run with an otter with antlers, the otterlope. We just started mocking up some designs of what it might look like, or
I think you nailed it. It's what I
The
imagined it looked
emoji
like.
helped
yeah.
us.
The emoji, yeah.
we were like, what should it look like? We found the otter emoji. We're like, that's pretty good.
That's-
Little
they
shit.
really nailed it.
Yeah, yeah.
We added our twist with our buddy Colin Brown.
By the way, for whoever's listening, if you message the Building Bellingham podcast Instagram and send us the word otterlope, it is code word for Leo's buying you a waffle on the Building Bellingham podcast. You have to listen to it. You have to say otterlope.
All right, everyone, it's Tiffany here with the terms and conditions. This episode dropped on February 17, 2023, so this offer is good until May 17, 2023.
Okay.
Shout out. Let's go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Let's shift into brand. Part of it was the funky Bellingham, keep Bellingham weird. How did you guys decide on dinosaurs? Was it something that you were doing with your own food prior to the food truck? Like you'd like, oh no, wait, you can't eat that yet. You don't have a dinosaur. Or was it something that you felt like part of the brand?
To be honest, it was a total idea that just got completely out of control.
Yeah.
It started out, so first thing we bought was the waffle maker.
Yeah,
Second thing we bought was the
waffle
trailer.
maker.
Third thing, I spent like $250 or $200 on these plastic dinosaurs with stands, and I drilled through them and made these things. And
You're like, this is gonna be the ticket numbers.
yeah.
I'm like, dude, we just bought the trailer.
He's like, we
We're
don't
on
have
ticket
paint.
numbers.
And I was like, I got a vision.
Yeah.
So when we were like actually opening up the trailer, we like kind of realized that like we're gonna probably make a lot of kids cry by like giving them the dinosaur and then taking
This
it
was
away.
like 2 days before soft opening. We had that conversation.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, maybe we should get some like little tiny toy dinosaurs to just give to crying kids.
Yeah.
I read basically what happened was we went on Amazon. There was this one review made by this lady just raving about the quality of these dinosaurs.
It was like a multiple paragraph.
It was
She had
just
like
about-
criteria of how she tested the structural integrity of these dinosaurs,
Pretty much.
or the design, like the details,
the
and stuff.
color, the design, the use. She sold us on it. So we're
Yeah.
like, well, we'll spend $15 on this pack of like, 150 dinos or whatever it was. And like, just give it to crying kids. It'll probably last us like 3 or 4 months.
So basically what ended up happening was we ordered 2 packs. I think we're like, all right,
Something like that.
2 packs. We're like, all right, $30. We're good for way too long.
Half a year. Like, we'll just give it to kids a bit. Every
So
once in
then
a while.
opening day, we did a soft opening, and we're like, let's just put the dinosaur, like we'll be like all the people that got the first waffle.
First
they get a
Waffles,
dinosaur.
bunch of homies
First
came
day.
through, like gave them dinosaurs.
And everyone's putting us on their story because there was like years of us making the waffle shop.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hype. Once they saw that we were like doing it, everyone started kind of coming out, and people were posting because we just have a lot of supportive friends here and supportive people, and we just put on the story. Next day we open up, and then we give out a couple waffles to people, and people were like, they like brought back their
We're like, is there a
waffle.
problem? Like,
Yeah.
do you not like
Is
it?
something wrong? So they're like, I think you're supposed to have a tiny dinosaur on it.
We're like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, the waffles that come with the dinosaurs on it. We really wanted the dinosaurs. We're like, okay, and just like
Yeah.
gave it to them.
And then we were like, okay, that was just like one person, you know? And then it just kept happening, and it was like
All day.
so we're just ordering like so many packs at a time, and we're just nuking through it, and we're like, crap, this is like
Yeah, we're
not...
like, we're gonna have to do this in every single waffle.
We
have to
People
manufacture
love it
these
too
ourselves.
much.
and we couldn't. We were so bad at telling people to get forks, knives, and napkins, and putting
Yeah.
a damn dinosaur on the
Yeah.
waffle.
We'd have to go back to the trailer,
We're-
grab a dinosaur to give it to
We'll
them
do
at their
We'll
table.
do it for like 2 weeks. We'll do it for 2 weeks, and we'll be done. And
yeah.
it just kept going, and then people
just
were like
loved
upset
it.
that we weren't giving it. So then we talked to the wholesaler, and now we have 12,000 tiny dinosaurs.
Yeah,
That
it's like
escalated
a couple
quickly.
orders of 12,000 dinosaurs. and
Yeah.
It's been a really fun thing because for one, people get to take it home and have like this little souvenir, something to like remember their experience of having the waffle and being at the shop. They can also return it. We have a dino orphanage, dino recycling center, we call it now. They can throw it
Kids
back
were
if they don't want
adopting
it.
too much.
Yeah, adoption. People were taking it out. The ones were like, no, this is dirty. Don't grab
Yeah,
this.
don't take that one.
So yeah, people can like return the dinos, and we will wash, sanitize, and do the whole thing so we can reuse them, and it's become this just like super fun thing.
We'll like see them out at bars. Like, we
Yeah.
went to Honeymoon. There's a couple. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen them in
Bar.
REI.
Yeah.
Like
Planters,
Cafe Blue. Like in the you know
Yeah.
plants. We're like
A lot
we
of
don't put them
people-
anywhere.
A lot of people have been bringing them traveling, which has been a really cool thing. Like one girl, she brought it up. Where'd she go?
Denali.
Oh,
She
she
summoned
summoned
Denali.
Denali.
Yeah.
And like had the dino top and took all these photos with it, and then like so many friends have brought it just like abroad traveling. It's become this little like dino thing. One of the coolest things, one of our biggest passions is like traveling, going places, and there's like people want to take this like little dino buddy on their travels and send us photos.
Do they name them too?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah. People
Yeah.
put them in the dash of their cars. We see it, so it's like really cool to like with food. It's like kind of one and done. Like you eat it and it's gone. So it's like a little thing to take home if you want it. So
It's really
ran with it.
annoying because we've ran out a couple times, and we have to get like lower quality mini
Yeah.
dinosaurs,
Yeah, the
and we can
collection.
tell
They don't have eyes or something? Or
they're just it's
claws?
just they don't have love made in them. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
But I'll like my roommate brought home. He's like, oh, I found this little dinosaur like in the like out on the road, and I like can grab it and like look at it. I'm like, yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
And I'm like 99% sure that tiny dinosaur came from my shop.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. So it's, you go into stores and you can like be like, yeah, that's a crap one.
Yeah.
That's
You
not
can
me.
take that low grade. Dinosaur.
Yeah. Only high quality
Exactly.
dinosaurs.
Well, it's part of your brand, and even if it wasn't immediately, like it wasn't part of this plan, one of the cool parts that you mentioned was the hype leading into like starting a business. Having supportive friends is obviously great, but social media, it's a blessing and a curse, right? It is a tool,
Mhm.
and it can be used for good and it can be used for bad, right? I'd like to hear more about your experience with social media right off the start. People started tagging you, tagging the dinosaurs, taking them on adventures, taking selfies with the waffle, sauce all over their face after eating a waffle, whatever it was. Tell me about that experience with social media and how you guys grew that following, because it's important for people to get to know you that don't know you.
So Graham and I, neither of us are very active on our own Instagrams.
We really suck at it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, we're
Just
not-
it's nothing that we really focus on doing personally, like sharing our moves.
Yeah.
I do have a fun time with the Waffle Shop Instagram.
Yeah,
and
with
it's been fun to like progressively get it more and more. Just we can just do whatever we want. Because at first we are like, oh crap, we're gonna get like canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Graham used to work at Melvin.
Yeah.
And he was there when they crashed and burned. So he's got like PTSD with that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
rightfully so.
We always say we
Understandably.
can't pull a Melvin. That's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
line, obviously.
I was like, we're never
People
gonna
say
pull.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, we have no interest in doing it, but we're like, dang, like okay.
It's
but
always positive in the end.
Yeah,
It's just
but-
fun with it.
yeah, it's been fun. Like we have such supportive people, and then there's certain people that haven't been supportive. Like there was twice we've been broken into, and one time we got broken into. We got a photo of him, and he had this like shitty goatee and ripped pants, and he had like this look. And one guy mentioned how he looked like Vanilla Ice. So then we just started sharing that like Vanilla Ice was wanted.
Yeah.
And we had like everyone like on our social
On the
media
hunt.
just on the hunt for Vanilla Ice. And we were like
Yeah.
ripping this guy a new one,
Yeah.
like publicly, who robbed us, you know?
Yeah.
And it was so funny. It was one of those joys of social media where you're like, wow, like
This is good viral.
Yeah, like
Like,
it's just hilarious.
Satirical, but proactive and enjoyable post, kind of
Exactly.
like tomato throwing. A
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, and the fact that he robbed us, we can just say whatever we want at that point.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what is he gonna do? Is
Yeah.
he gonna comment? Because then he does.
He's like,
at least know.
Stop
who he
saying
is.
these things about me.
Yeah, just like
Oh,
my
shit.
style's great.
I have the best goatee.
Yeah, right. But the social media part has been fun. We get drained doing it a little bit.
Yep.
But I do get like sparks where we do some funny videos. And
Yeah.
we're like, all right, cool. Let's see. Try to make relationships with bigger businesses.
Yep.
And we're just trying to go for like the biggest businesses that have influenced us.
Yeah.
The main one being Montucky.
Yep.
Montucky
Cold
fueled.
snacks.
Yeah, they fueled us
Great.
throughout college.
Yeah.
A lot of long days building the trailer in the
Yeah,
backyard.
yeah, with
Field
Montucky's.
on Montucky.
So it's
A lot of snacks.
Yeah, a lot of snacks. So it's been fun to build a relationship with them. And they like over Christmas, they sent us a bunch of sweaters and like they sent us a bunch of merch and like we just post weird shit
Yeah.
that has Montucky and
Yeah.
they post it. And we're trying to get a relationship with Pit Viper. and
Oh, for those that don't know Pit Viper, explain the sunglasses. There's some sweet shades.
Yeah,
There's some
they're-
stunners.
they're just like some retro
Yeah.
70s, 80s shades.
Big shades,
Yeah.
crazy big frames.
But-
Almost like ski goggles, like board
Almost,
goggles.
yeah.
Almost.
yeah, they got to look. Mainly their social media and their Instagram is so outlandishly weird
Yeah.
that it's personally an app. Like they inspire me
Yeah.
as to make a weirder Instagram. And
Yeah.
be like, all right, cool. Like let's like
They've set the bar.
let's like knock it up. Like
Yeah.
let's beat them.
Yeah.
You know, and
We need to pump these numbers up, these weird numbers.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. We in the end, for every like weird post we dressed up my buddy Andrew Pryor the other day as like a charcuterie board
Yeah.
in an American Speedo and ate off of him. And I was like, well, this might be really bad
Yeah.
or this might turn out great.
Yeah.
It turned out awesome. We lost a couple followers, which is fine,
Yeah.
you know.
See you later.
Yeah, but like we got way more attention from it. So it was just hilarious. And I've got a video I'll be posting here very soon of that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like, okay, well, if that works, like, what can we do next that
Yeah.
like maybe makes it like a little bit even weirder,
Yeah.
you know? And like, I like when people go on Instagram and they just say, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And like, it has no context at all. And it's just
Totally.
like a half naked man in Pit Viper
Yeah.
is covered in maple syrup.
Yeah.
And waffle stuff.
Those are all the combination, right?
Yeah.
That's all you need in life.
Yeah, that's all you need in life. Let's shift over to the number side of the business. I mean, you're running a business. It's working really well to the point where you're opening up a brick and mortar. How did you guys calculate profit and loss? I know a lot of food and beverage has to do with like estimated like how much you need of something and like waste and the efficiency. Like, tell me about that experience in growing a business that obviously is profitable to the point where you guys can grow.
Running a restaurant, especially, there's so many costs, and it's always fluctuating because you're working off market costs and ingredients and all this. So there's a lot of variables in it. From the start, we did everything out of pocket. We were in college, just living off of what we made, working restaurant industry jobs, and like putting everything that we could save into building the trailer up to make the business. And we went in with that mindset of just like the grinding and just like what we put in, we're going to get out of it. So like from the first summer and even more of operating, we didn't pay ourselves. We just put everything into the business, and we're still doing majority of just like what we make as a business, put it in because we want to see this thing grow. We want to like just let it ride. But yeah, there's so many variables of a restaurant, especially of breaking down ingredients costs, menu prices, and food waste, rent, electricity, everything. It just came with time, and we had a little bit of an idea for sure, like going into it. But like funny to look back on like what our projections of costs and profit we thought were going to be and what it is now, and see like what the difference is. But it's like allowed us to learn a lot. So now going into this brick and mortar, we're at a much better, like more realistic place where we can make a projections and our, gain, loss, and margin, and everything is a lot more like realistic. So the trailer was a really, really great first step to like teach us all that behind the scene. We've built that management experience, but we've never like owned a business to actually have to do that. So it's been great to learn that. And
it's funny because everyone's like, wow, you guys must be profitable enough to make this brick and mortar. You must be doing really well. And it's like, well, that's actually not the case. Like the reality is that a food truck, it seems really cheap, but it's actually pretty expensive.
Yeah.
We do everything really cheap, but I think it probably took us 2-3 weeks to realize that the trailer wasn't going to be what we needed.
Not going to be the end goal of the trailer.
And I think a major thing was that is the lost revenue. The revenue is good for Waffles, right? But the lost revenue is really high.
Like opportunity cost of of like size and scale and location and all the things.
For example, when we were making the shop, we're like, we're gonna have coffee. Like first it was espresso. We're like, nah, let's just do like simple coffee. And then we like filled the space, and we're like, shit, we don't have room for anything. So we ended up not being able to offer coffee or any drinks. So there's like instantly 30% at least loss in potential revenue. Our original location was supposed to be downtown, and we were supposed to operate, earlier mornings, late at nights. At Stemo, we do 11 p.m. till 8 p.m. on our longest days, and those are kind of neither early morning or
like
late
in the middle.
night. So for us, it never really worked to its full potential. And I think we have a lot of big ideas of where we want to take Sweet as Waffles, and we're like, okay, cool. Like moving into a brick and mortar is going to be the main thing. Though the trailer has been a great stepping stone. We got a really good setup at Stema. We ended up building a pretty good brand for ourselves. We like this thing.
Making a lot of customers that we know are going to carry over brick and mortar and gain from there.
A huge thing also is last winter we were able to take off 6 or 7 weeks. And if I were to do that at a brick and mortar, it would be, rental loan, $6,000 plus like how big my staff is, with the brick and mortar. So with the trailer, I'm able to leave and go, and it's not going to cost that much money. And that's why a lot of food truck owners, they're owner operated and they get to go travel and like kind of take off time. But you're maxed out.
You have a ceiling.
Totally. And it's nice to have this brick and mortar, like the ceiling is pretty high ideally, but we haven't filled the space yet. Once we start filling it, we'll be like, oh shit. We need something bigger.
I don't want to get too far down the road because I know you guys are like right in the moment of this next move. But I mean, I see a lot of opportunity with the high quality that you put out and the awesome brand that you guys have for all of these different avenues. And I'm sure you guys have thought about it. I've had lots of ideas, and so I understand how ideas work. What are some of these future, big picture? Are you wanting to wholesale waffles at some point? Are you wanting to stay away from that and do cater events? I know you guys do cater events, right?
Yeah, this past summer we built a catering trailer.
Yeah. So like a commissary kitchen type of setup. Are any of those in your plans for growth, or just one thing at a time? Take it easy.
Yeah, we
Kind of one thing at a time, but again, we're both impatient. We want things to happen. So yeah, getting this brick and mortar, it's gonna be like full-fledged restaurant, be able to open up on our breakfast hours we want to, and do the whole coffee thing, and then do our dinner and dessert, and eventually late night, hopefully this summer. We'll see how things go. Get into the late night where we have like Bellingham's got such a good bar scene, late night scene, late night of drinking and crowd, but not enough late night food, so we can like help create that, especially on the railroad, and match a couple of those other late night places there. There's a lot that we want to do through the brick and mortar. Wholesaling is one of them that we want to get into eventually, hopefully sooner than later, because it's a huge market and a lot of things we can do with frozen waffles. You know, there's already a thing that you could go to the store and get your Eggo and get your Kraft waffle and like all these really crappy processed waffle, but you can't get a local or just like a good high quality frozen waffle.
Or even like a gluten-free one that tastes good.
Yeah,
your guys' gluten-free batter is just like lights out.
Yeah, thanks. It works. You know, you could get your bagel and you can get all these other things, donuts that these shops are like selling to your Fred Meyer and Safeway and Co-op, but you can't get your waffles. So we're hoping to like fill that gap in the market there and like get into that production side. See where that goes.
Yeah, we hope that eventually that may become our bread and butter.
Yeah,
you know, for
brick and mortar, bread and butter. And like just you put two things next to each other and it becomes a statement. Right?
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah. A lot of people have a lot of advice. You're growing this business together. There's probably a lot of people that said, hey, that's a really stupid idea, or you should do it this way, or you should get rid of the dinosaurs. And that was probably the most offensive one of all. But everyone has an opinion, and people that are maybe afraid of taking the risk that you're willing to take are usually the most vocal. I've experienced. They're like, oh, you shouldn't do that. This could all go wrong. You're like, great, don't do it. I will. Thanks.
Yeah.
See you later. And then there's people that give you feedback, like maybe bad reviews or bad feedback, or the people that were, there doesn't have to be a lot. There's one that can consume your time. And how do you guys process feedback? How do you filter who you listen to?
Early on, when you start a business, you receive a lot more hypercriticism than you do with an established business. You're always going to receive some sort of criticism, and I'm sure we're going to get a whole new wave of it once we open up our brick and mortar. I think the funniest one was first day of opening, second day, he's like, two guys got a waffle and they're like, yeah, that was good. He's like, you know what, you guys should pivot, you guys should do pretzels. And you're just like,
pretzel food truck. We've been open like one day. Like that was like first grand
opening. Like, you could have a bunch of nice mustards. He's like, that's what people want when they go to a brewery.
Like, sounds good.
Yeah.
I was like, you should run with it.
Yeah. And then, you got it, man. Yeah.
I think I always
got any pancakes back there? Yeah. You're like, dude, just buy the thing.
We'll get
it's
that
here.
Sometime. You guys have crepes, waffles. I wanted a crepe. I was like, you're here. Just get a waffle. You're gonna like the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
they're not too different. There are a lot of differences, but they have basic core similarities.
I think we've definitely gotten a lot better at tuning out and tuning in to certain people. I would say the most annoying one that we actually do get consistently is definitely chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
People are just flabbergasted with the idea that we don't have chicken and waffles. And it's hilarious because moving this brick and mortar, there's a huge hood vent that we got a fry later, we got all this stuff, and we're like, all right, let's sell it. Yeah. You know, and we're like instantly selling a fry later, and everyone's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's so in like a different field of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's a total different business model there. I mean, we're into the sweet and savory waffle, but like to do a fried chicken is like so different than the prep and purchase and equipment that we already have. So,
not to mention kind of a cult following. Like fried chicken has like a spectrum of different types of fried chicken, and then there's also like it just gets into a whole category of like snootiness. I don't even know how to explain it. It's it's one of those niches that's like, do we want to mess with that? That's totally dangerous, right?
Yeah, so we like to do pop-ups with the fried chicken. So we've done it at the filling station twice now. We talked about doing it with Accomplice and a couple other spots. And
they do the chicken, you do the waffle.
Yeah.
Bring the maker instead of us having fried chicken in our menu in our spot. We just like, all right, that's our pop-up and other people's establishments.
You get it like once a year, once every 6 months. So that shuts everyone up.
Yeah, keeping
And
it
then,
simple.
Yeah.
And for those people that showed up that wanted you guys to do fried chicken, follow their Instagram, Sweet as Waffles. You will find the days and the collaborations that they're having with a place that's going to do fried chicken, Accomplice. So anyways, follow along that so you can find out when you can go get what you want.
Yeah.
Other days, just go get waffles and, keep it yourself. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, and then another one that was funny was we had like a Yelp person just kind of like be like, oh, not even like, I don't know what the hype is. Like, it's not even that good. And then they didn't have their name, but it was like Bellingham Foodie or whatever, and I just like posted on our Instagram story of like directions to the best waffle in town, which is at IHOP.
Yeah.
I was like, it was only like 1.1 miles away.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, they have the best. Like, go get them, you know.
Super
like,
consistent.
like
super not local organic,
It's like fun to feel like so many businesses are like stepping on, glass where they just don't want to piss people off. And we're like a little bit more like, well, if we lose a customer, like it's fine, as long as like our other 99% of customers are like happy and like enjoy, like see that this is a passion project. Yeah. We're like doing what we want to do rather than just conform to.
If you want, it's like when you go to a restaurant and you order something, but then have like you want to sub like 15 things, you might as well just go home and cook your own food. Like that's where you can do your thing. So
exactly.
There are people out there that have a dream. There are people that are in this like early stage of creating a business, or maybe we're you two guys, they're buddies from college that have this passion or have this idea of how you want to work for yourselves and create something weird and you have this other bigger vision. There's a lot of people out there that are like that, but just kind of they get stuck. A lot of the times I've found that people that are further into their business or have gone through more shit actually offer some really good advice. What advice do you guys have to pass along to people that are kind of in that place?
Use your resources is one of the biggest ones. Like whether it's people you know or total strangers, people that you know of, just Bellingham's a great community where people are here to support small business. Small business owners want to see other small businesses succeed. So don't be afraid just to walk in a door or send a cold email and be like, yo, I want to do this thing. I just want some advice. If you have any time for me, like to answer these questions.
That's something we slacked on.
Something that we learned going through where like we have always done everything ourselves. And even the things we didn't know, we would try to just figure out as we went, where if we just from the start would ask the expert in town or ask somebody who's done it before, of like, what's the best way to go about this? We would have done that much more efficient and maybe perfectly correct the first time rather than having to like change it because we didn't do it right the first time. So yeah, definitely just using your resources and not being afraid to talk to people you don't know, because especially Bellingham, people are willing to help you out. That's the really nice thing about this community.
I'd probably say that like, I feel like so many people have ideas and these great ideas, and I feel like they like spiral and they'll come up with other ideas. They'll never actually move towards anything. And I think it's important to just figure out something that you want to do, figure out a good idea and just start moving in that direction and go for it. I talked to my brother is a business owner, and I was talking to him about debt. I was like, how much debt is your business? He's like 1.1 mil, and I'm like, holy shit, and like, I was like, how much is that personal debt, and he was like, oh, not that bad, only like $600,000. Yeah. And since then he's gotten out of it. He's like gotten in more investors. And it's just like one of those like huge, like, startup companies. It's hilarious. I was like, wow, $600,000, like you're in debt $600,000 and you have a smile on your face right now. And he's like, yeah, I've got probably a better resume now. Yeah. And I can go get a good job because I proved that I was able to make a business. I was able to like take risks. And even though I may have not made it successful, and in the end, I do have a reputable one. And I did go for something. Yeah. And I think a lot of people miss that mark where they just don't go for something.
Yeah. It's like the analysis paralysis, or there's a lot to it that's not the sexy like outer shell of it. There's a lot of it that's just like, I'm just going to show up every day and do the thing and get better and be humble about it and ask for help, So in lieu of opening up the brick and mortar shop, you guys are selling merch. On the website, on the Instagram, you can find, we'll link to everything so that people can go buy merch so we can continue to push this forward, because I'm super stoked for you guys. It's exciting. Thank you. And a reminder that if you message Building Bellingham, and we're talking about otterlopes, so if you say otterlope to Building Bellingham, Tiffany will be fielding these.
Yeah,
we'll buy
that's
those.
Amazing.
And then, so anybody that messages the Building Bellingham podcast Instagram page, or text me or Facebook, we respond to those in a regular amount of time. We will make sure that you get a Sweet as Waffles gift card, or I'll meet you there. So, hey, season 4, episode 6. Woo! Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Boom.
Building Bellingham is a community podcast exploring leadership, challenges, failure, and mindset with entrepreneurs right here in Whatcom County, Washington. You can be the first to hear about upcoming guests by subscribing to the Building Bellingham Facebook or Instagram pages, as well as the Building Bellingham YouTube channel. This episode was produced and edited by Tiffany Holden. Our videography is done by Cooper Hansley. Community projects are by Taylor Beal. To learn more about the team behind the podcast and to download our media kit, check out our website at www.livebellinghamnow.com or search Cohen Group NW on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn. From the whole Building Bellingham podcast team, thank you for listening.